if you are taking screenshots, please just make sure that then you transfer the information to your notebook or make your notes. Or at least have a specific file for, I don't know, history screenshots. And then there you can find them easier. Okay? So the millennials from 500 to 1485. So it's like almost almost till the 15th century, the 16th, sorry. It's from the 6th century to the 15th century. And let's start. How society was organized. Okay. Just to make it clear and to understand, according to specialists and all those who have been studying and research about the Middle Ages, society was classified or divided into three groups, right? Those who fight, those who pray, and those who work. Okay? Just to make it easy, no? It would be like three social classes, even though they were not known as social classes, but it would be like that, no? Those who fight, those who pray, those who work, right? From this list, I mean, don't copy the whole list yet. Just try to identify which ones were those who fight, which ones were those who pray, which ones were those who work. We have carpenter, cook, doctor, dyer, friar, knight, lawyer, merchant, miller, monk, nun, plowman, priest, prioress, reeve, sailor, soldier, squire, tapestry, and weaver. Actually, weaver is repeated. It's only once. Which ones do you consider were those who fight? Fer.
Maybe the soldier, the school. Well, I think like the one of the third list.
All of them?
No. What's the meaning of weaver? It's just that I don't recognize.
Okay, that's a good question. Of course, if there's a word that you don't know.
Because there are two of them in the list.
Okay. Weaver. Who knows what a weaver is or was, guys? Anyone? No? An idea? Santiago, are you there? Wake up. Yes? Okay. But in English, how can you explain that in English, Adrian? Explain it to Fer. But open your microphone.
It's a person that makes fabric stuff with his own hands. It's basically tejedor.
But not in Spanish. Ay, Adrian, come on. You see? Well, he already said it in Spanish.
Like in Spanish, it's easier to understand.
Yeah, but the things that you can practice in order to describe and use English as possible, right? But it's okay, yes. A person that makes pieces of cloth with its own hands using different types of yarn, right? Un tejedor, dice Adrián. That is a weaver. Let's see. Daniel, who from this list, which ones do you think were those who pray? Daniel?
Who pray?
Mm-hmm.
Mm, Night? No.
No?
No.
Do you understand what pray means?
Hey, it's
Sorry?
just I understand what it's brain.
Okay. From this list, which ones used to pray? Which ones do you think pray? A carpenter?
No.
A merchant?
No.
No? Nun? Do you know what a nun is, Daniel?
No. No.
No? Nun is a religious woman.
So no praise.
Okay, a nun prays. A friar? Do you know what a friar is?
Yeah. No. Waiting for something.
No? Friar is a religious man.
So this one.
Of course. Do you know what a priest is?
Priest.
Mm-hmm. In the second column, you have miller, monk, nun, plowman, priest, prioress, reap, sailor.
Yeah, priest. I know. He prays.
They pray. And a monk?
Uh, uh, praise too.
Exactly, you see? Good. So those were the ones who prayed. Thank you, Daniel. Ferd told us that soldier and knight were those who fight. Is there any other in the list that belongs to those who fight? Only soldier and knight? What do you think? Vicky? Vicky? Yes, Santiago.
I think esquire means escudero, no?
Kind of, yes.
So I think also esquire is of the those who fight,
Okay.
because they are like they help the knights like get ready, take care of the armor and their weapon.
The weapon, very good. Excellent. So that means that the rest were or belong to those who work, right? Just let's see, let's check. Give me a second. So, society in the Middle Ages, we can take, of course, knight, squire, and soldier as those who fight, right? Prioress, nun, priest, monk, and friar were those who pray. The prioress was this woman that was in charge of a specific group that used to pray, of course, but it's well like a kind of leader, a woman leader in charge of another group, right? And they, of course, belong to pray. And the rest of those we have already seen, those were the ones who work. Merchant, lawyer, camper, weaver, dyer, tapestry, cook, sailor, doctor, plowman. Do you know what a plowman is, guys? No one? What a plowman is? No? It's a farmer worker. Oh, there were like the farmers who owned the farm or who owned the land, and this was just a person that works or worked in the farm, plowman. Oh, like a specialist working in a farm. Okay, then we have miller. Do you know what a miller is? No? What is a mill? Or what are mills? Fer.
I think a miller is the one that work in a mill, and the mill is like molino.
Exactly. Molina. Very good. So the miller works there, right? And a reef. What is a reef? Who knows? No? No one? Adrian, more than a judge, it was like a sheriff. More like a judge. It was like a sheriff, no? But in the Middle Ages, it was known as a reef. Good. So this is how society was organized. Let's see. I think we have some specifications here about why the squire, the prior are, and of course, as I was saying, no, it's like a sheriff, the official with specific responsibilities. The reef, no. He was like under the crown orders, even though he was the chief of the manor. It was under the crown orders. Okay, that is it. Well, but we know, and we also mentioned before, if you remember, that during the Middle Ages, there was this feudal system, this organization, this classification, this stratification, we can call it, right? Again, in the same sense, those who fought, those who prayed, those who worked. I'm pretty sure that you have seen this pyramid before lots of times, right? Yes, Santiago, what can you tell us about the feudal system? What do you remember?
I remember that at the very, 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 very top were like the kings, below the king or queen were like the royal family. Then there were like the priests, clero.
The clergy.
Yes. And then below them were like the writers, los que escribían, ¿no? The herreros.
In English?
English. In English. Then below them were like the knights, the army, the military, no? And then below them were like the merchant, the average worker, farmer, weaver, millsman, doctor.
Like the commoners.
Yes,
no?
yes. And below them were like the slaves, the very bottom.
Oh, you gave like 5 classifications, maybe?
Yeah, but I don't remember.
Don't remember. Don't worry. We're going to recall that here. That's why we're taking all this revision. Don't worry. Okay. I'm going to ask you to, of course, you do your pyramid just in case you forgot this. Copy the, maybe not the drawings, it's not necessary, but just the pyramid, so to identify the feudal systems, okay? Sorry. Let me see. Santiago Trejo, can you read this, please?
Yes, the feudal system. These groups were ordered into a social hierarchy. Hierarchy, known as the feudal system. It has the king at the top with all of the control, and the peasants at the bottom doing all of the work.
All of the work. Very good. Thank you. So, yes, as we were saying before, on top it was the king, absolute power, control of everything. Then we have lords and nobles who were mostly close to the king or close friends to the king. Then we have knights, all those who fought, and at the bottom the peasants, right? The peasants and all those who work. Yes, this is in a very simple way, of course. If we can include those who prayed, were part of the clergy and belonging to the second level, we can say it. Then all those who fight into the third one, and all the rest, the people who work at the bottom. Okay. So I'll give you a few seconds for you to draw your pyramid and just write the names. And this system was useful and worked and was kind of successful because this allowed to, again, take control, keep control of everything, right? Everyone was conscious and perfectly knew where they belong in this stratification, where they were allowed and not allowed to do, of course. And this also allowed everyone to take control of the production, mainly farming, as we know, and the benefits of this, because remember, as it usually happens, those on the bottom, those are the ones who work for the rest that are above, right? And it was a very important, farming became a very important economic activity, so that it was plenty and useful and provided everything the rest of the pyramid needed. Okay. Yep, ready with the pyramid? Yes, Melissa, ready? Yes, sure. You're like, okay, ready, Mateo? Good. Mariana, are you copying or taking screenshot? What? No, there was no sample. Okay. Good. You don't need to copy this. Just again, it's like giving a general context to understand all this classification, this feudal system, this stratification of people in the Middle Ages. Okay, who were the peasants? Of course, as we have said, most of the people belong to this sector, to this group. They are also known as commoners, common people. No. Of course, because they did not belong to the nobility, they did not own the land, they were the farmers, they were the ones who produce all the goods and everything. The manor, we're going to talk about the manors in a minute, needed. They worked really hard, and even though in between the peasants there was also social classification or a social order, as they call it, because they were those who had like a, how can we say it, like a higher level, even though they were also peasants, right? But I mean, just in simple words, peasants were all those members of the medieval society who work the land and produce the necessary food for all the men. Okay, those were the peasants. That. How was this classification in between the peasants or the peasantry? Give me a sec. Just for you to know. Even though they were peasants, even though they were from the lowest class, there were some peasants that were free men. Okay? These peasants or these free men were able to pay the Lord to have a place to live or where to live. I mean, they pay a rent to the Lord so they can own a piece of land where they could work, where they could live, and could have, their family, right? They were freemen, so they had this right, let's say it that way. Even though they, again, were from the peasants and from the lowest classification, due to their work, they were able to make a good way of living. They make good money, so they could have access to pay rent for this land. They did not own the land, but they pay a rent. They did pay a rent for this land to live there. It was not enough money for owning the land, but just enough for them to pay a rent, right? And there were the other side of the peasants, or the other classification of the peasants, those who were, servants. Yes, it says serfs. No, it says here the structure at the bottom. They were the serfs. They were servants. Okay, they were not free men. It says that they were legally tied to the land they worked. They were kind of slaves, as Santiago was saying before. And even though they had the right to work there, the lords, or the landowner, it could be one of these peasants that pay a rent, owned them. It was their property. Even though, again, both were at the bottom, there were those peasants who make a good living, make good money, or at least enough for having a decent way of living, and to pay a rent for the land, and they could own one of these men. But mostly these servants or these serfs that were at the very, very, very bottom, like the slaves, as I said before, belong to the landowner. Okay, so if you see, even though they belong to the same social class, there was like a whole complete different way of living. The hierarchy was completely different. Oh, guys, we have exceeded the time. Sorry, I just noticed it. Right? Yes. Sorry. Okay, of course, we continue with the Middle Ages, as I said before, just to get to know about the most important and relevant aspects of this. See you later for geography and civics, right? Have a nice day. And enjoy your Chinese event if you join it.